If you've been using silicone or similar type of products that come in those very large tubes that require one of these applicator guns, then you know how difficult it can be at times getting that product out of those tubes. Well, not anymore. This is a Soudal applicator gun, and this is supposed to make it easier to actually get that product out of those large tubes. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give this a bit of a run and see if it is actually easier than using my old silicone gun. Okay, I'm going to be using a tube of Soudal Fix All Crystal Clear. I've already cut off the end here, and I've already cut off the end of the nozzle here, so I'm just going to screw that on. Now for the applicator gun, all I'm going to do is push that button in, pull back the plunger, put the Soudal in, push that button again, and get the plunger and push that back into the tube. Now, one of the things about this gun that's different to a lot of other guns is that this barrel actually rotates. And the reason being is that if you're going around corners or you need to turn it, by rotating the barrel as you go, it makes it smoother application of the silicone or whatever product you're using to come out of that nozzle and against whatever you're using. And that's really more suitable if you're going to be using it around the home, but in mosaics you don't really need to worry about that. But it's just something I thought I'd point out. Now I've got a piece of MDF here, and I'm going to give this a bit of a try and see how easy it actually is to use this compared to my other applicator gun. And I've got some tessera here. So I'm going to now put a little bit down here. I'm squeezing the nozzle, and I can tell you now it is easier. And I'm going to go through the smaller part of the nozzle now, and normally I have to push a lot harder on my other applicator gun. And although I'm using a bit of pressure, it's certainly a lot easier than my other applicator gun. Just going to put a little bit down there, pop the tessera there. And I find that's a lot easier. A little bit there. There you go. Now, there is an easier way to use this as well. You don't have to use it for applying directly to your substrate. What I sometimes do, oh, and don't forget to switch that off. Otherwise, it will continue to come out until all the pressure's gone. So what I like to do is I like to use a baggie. And I'll just move that up there. And I tend to put the tube in the baggie like that and squeeze it. And of course you can cut off the nozzle a bit more if you want to get more out, but I'm quite happy the way it's going. And I know it's a bit of a waste of product, but it is a demonstration. And then I'll wipe it, click the nozzle off so it doesn't keep coming out. But I will use this anyway. I have a couple of things where I'd like to use it on. And just fold that up. Squeeze most of the air out. Ziplock it down. Fold that down like that. Keep rolling it. Get a bit of tape. Push that in like that. And then I'm going to now just cut off the end here. Just a little bit. I don't want to cut off a lot because if you cut off too much, you're going to get too much coming out of the baggie. So it's always wise, even when using the nozzle on any of these applicator tubes, just cut off a bit first because you can always cut off more if you need it. I'm going to take this down to, squeeze it down to the end there. Bring this back in, and I'm going to now apply a bit. There you go. And let's try some really, really small ones, these little dots. A little bit down there. And this one as well. So I find using this type of baggie along with my applicator gun works really, really well and gives you complete control over the silicone or whatever other product you're using. So I find that works really well. Of course, you still have to be very careful because you can get it everywhere if you're not. And sometimes I do have that problem when using any of these silicone type of products. But using the gun makes it extremely, extremely easy to actually squeeze out those contents of the tubes compared to my older applicator gun. So I'd have to say this is a bit of a winner. Now when you're finished with the tube in your applicator gun, what I like to do is just push the button in a bit, pull the plunger out, take out the tube, undo the nozzle, put that somewhere like in the bin or wherever you want to put it if you're not going to use it straight away. I like to get these caps, and these are called saver tube, and I screw it on and just firmly, don't over tighten it, and then I just store it upright like that. And that helps to keep the contents of these tubes for quite a lot longer. And I've had them in these tubes for probably 6 months to 9 months, maybe even a year, where I haven't had any issues with the contents drying out. So that's another tip if you're interested. I find that I have used these caps and I've used many other different ideas and put screws in the ends of the nozzles, and the contents seem to dry out in a matter of weeks, which makes it very difficult, you know, and you're just throwing away good product. So I find these saver tubes are really great to use.